Well, let me tell everyone so that we get started about Voices Digital. Voices Digital, that is a division of Teachers Discovery and that offers online language curricula to world language teachers in the US. Recently, Voices Digital developed Our Storyscape, an online EFL curriculum designed for native Spanish speakers with a focus on stories, wow, and storytelling, as well as culture, authentic materials, and assessment. Our Storyscape provides a strong foundation for language development and acquisition. So welcome Lorena Ojeda, our Storyscape's voice, to our conference. Thanks for supporting us and all the best.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here and thank you for your interest in our session. So we're going to get started with our Storyscape. And first of all, I'd like to start by asking you guys, how often have you used, on scale from 1 to 5, how often have you used stories in your classrooms? 5 being always and 1 being never. You can type on the chat and we'll see.
Well,
Okay.
You have a first 5, you have a 4 there as well.
Okay, so that's very good. So you are very familiar with storytelling, which is awesome. Well, I'm just going to continue with why it is a great thing to incorporate stories in our lessons. Oh, sorry. Okay, there. So first we're going to talk about storytelling and language acquisition. Then we're going to talk about specifically on stories, the different audio illustrations that we have in our materials. We'll also discuss some CI activities that are like based on different types of stories and how they cover different modes of communication, because that's a different approach that we have. We're also going to talk about the authentic materials, including our panoramas, infographics, videos. We'll mention some of our class projects, which are story-based projects based on STEAM and mindfulness. And we'll also go to an assessment of individual and integrated skills. And finally, we're going to discuss a little bit the different tools and features that we have in our platform. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so why we're using and why we decided to focus on storytelling and story-based activities. First of all, stories help to effectively get and hold students' attention. What happens when we tell stories? They can relate to the story. They can find maybe identify themselves with the stories, the characters, or the different ways in which the story progresses. You know, we are born as, you know, it's part of our genes to tell stories. Why you got late to school, what happened to you on the bus. We are always talking about things that happen to us, right? So that's what keeps our attention. And we love to hear what happened to somebody else or gossip, you know. So it's part of us. It's so natural. It also increases students' retention of information because they are memorable. We remember them. Okay. It fosters also imagination because by listening to the story, we can imagine the situation, right? And finally, and this is just some of the different advantages because there are many, but they also help students, as I was saying before, relate to those different types of events, okay? Sometimes when we hear a story, we can be very understanding of a person's situation because we went through that situation again, you know? So that's something that we would like to exploit in our stories. So what we have in our stories, I'm sorry, but my
it's okay.
I don't know what's going on.
It's okay, Lore, and it is fantastic. And let me tell you that relatability is so closely connected to developing social emotional learning. So that's why it is so important to adopt stories in our classes.
So, yes, in our case, you will see here that we have the stories, which, like I said before, we are animal lovers, and so we include animals as parts of the stories. You have the story there that is in text. You will see it in text. You will also see the audio that you can play. So there are different strategies that can be used when talking about, when introducing stories. Um, this is about a birthday gift that is an animal, and people go to a shelter to rescue a pet. So this is one of those, I would say, one of my favorite stories. And what happens here? We introduce high frequency vocabulary and foundational grammar in context, because the stories, as you will see, there highlight some vocabulary items, and we can see how the vocabulary is being used within the story. What also has a very great, let's say, impact on how we design the different activities is all these different other activities right here, for example, that develop communication. So based on the same story, we have a reaction. For example, right here, you will see that there is, you're supposed to give a caption that describes each photo. And so you have to record, students will have to record their description right here, and teachers later on will have access to listen and grade, and we'll discuss that in our next slides. And all of these activities have a goal, a communicative goal in mind. You will see right here at the can-do statement star that you will see that we are trying to get students to read and understand a story about a police lineup, for example. This is a story in which this lady had a situation and she had to identify the suspect. And so she is introducing the description as a model, and then students have to do the same based on that model, identify those characters. Here we have also a matching activity where we are going to match the description. This is how you see how the different activities are scaffolded, and how students will build up on those different structures to meet those communicative needs. So our main focus, it's not only linguistic competence, like, being able to form correct sentences, but being able to communicate effectively. So I'm sure that most of you also enjoy different authentic materials that you can also incorporate in your lessons. And I'm also sure that sometimes finding those authentic materials is kind of difficult, right? We have to dig and dig and dig in order to be able to find those authentic materials. Well, we do have an authentic materials section here that in which we include different, let's say, types of material. First of all, we have here the map section. In this case, we feature an English-speaking country in our every unit. So in this case, we focus on Great Britain. And then we have different activities for students to be able to develop their ability to read and understand maps. So we have that. We are going to learn some geography, of course. And the first time my students saw this map, they were excited because the map was in English. And they were like, oh, wow, this is how you say it. And we didn't have to translate for them because you already had that knowledge of, geography in Spanish. So they were able to transfer that knowledge and, look at, observe, and identify the ways in which different geographical areas are said in English. So they were really happy about it. So here we also have additional information of Great Britain. We're going to discover other ways and other cultural characteristics. That's another way for us to develop intercultural competence. Of course, there are many different sections in our materials where we feature, like I said, India, Canada, and other countries. So we have a better understanding of the culture. And of course, if you do have any question, please feel free to chat or to type them in so we can discuss them. Yes, you do?
No questions so far. I was just typing that transferable knowledge helps the emerging generations of students feel confident from the early start of their classes.
Okay, well, great. Thank you. Thank you for Okay, so in this section, we have different types of videos. Of course, they're also part of our authentic materials. We have different ways in which we help our students engage with this authentic material and make sure it is specifically want to work for their level. This is a beginner level, so but we do cover a lot of communication so they can feel confident understanding, reading, and watching videos that are, authentic because they don't have any, they haven't been specifically designed for learners, but it is something that we know learners will be able to acquire. And there are so many interesting topics. You will see recipes, you will see videos on how to use an app, you will see this is here right here in India, and we have different discussions in relation to how students go to school and what the reality is. We can compare and contrast those types of realities. We also provide additional materials with Venn diagrams for comparisons. So, and this one is learning to make this very yummy recipe. So this is also one of my favorite videos. So in relation to class projects, we have a section devoted to story-based projects that focus specifically on STEAM, mindfulness. So what you will see right here is a step-by-step guide on how to implement them. You will see also the worksheets that come with it. In this case, this is a story. I'm sure you know the story of the hare and the tortoise. I'm sure you heard it before. So we have a rewrite of, it's called Mr. Turtle has a date, and he has a date with Mr. Hare. And it's a very interesting story because we know, who gets there late. The great thing about this story is that we can also discuss and use this story to talk about the concept of speed, how we measure speed, acceleration, deceleration, for students to create a ramp and then measure different ways in which speed works and measure their own speed, set up, let's say, a 3-meter route in the class and see who gets there faster and measure, an experiment. And that's the whole point about it. And of course, here we represent that, with the tortoise and hare, and then the student has to measure their own speed. So it's a great way to get our students off of their seats and their devices, and also have a chance to experiment and do a different type of work and incorporate this in cross-curricular knowledge into their classes. So that was something that was like something that we wanted to do. And the same as this one, well, here we have the water cycle, and it was in relation to a rainy day and what causes rain, and experiment that with the students, get the type of vocabulary that they would need, and then experiment with them and see how we can replicate the water cycle. So I really enjoy doing these activities with my students. So, and there, just like this, we have a STEAM activities. We also have mindfulness activities that will help students have a moment and create a prop to be able to relax and learn those breathing techniques. We also have have projects with different types of pictures and a very detailed guide on how to implement them. So now I'm going to move on to assessments. Of course, we might be asking ourselves, well, if you are using stories as a basis of your instruction, how are you going to assess it, right? So, well, we have, let's say, 2 different approaches that are combined. The first one is the traditional assessment of skills, as you already know, vocabulary and grammar. But this is a pretty novel assessment approach because here we are assessing modes of communication. As our goal is to develop communicative competence, we are not just focusing on speaking, reading, writing, and the 4 skills as you guys already know them. We are focusing on modes of communication that necessarily imply interaction between 2 or more speakers. So we are going to look at, we start by, it's called integrated performance assessment, and starts by discussing a context, introducing a context to students. For example, in this case, we are introducing the concept of organizing a birthday party. So you have a friend, and then here we're going to prepare a recipe for this friend's birthday, okay? And we're going to tell the person how to make that food or that meal. So this is called presentational speaking. You have presentational, interpersonal, and interpretive. These are the 3 different categories, and you will see them, and they are all connected. They are all connected to the same context, in this case, of discussing a birthday party. There is a lot to be said about this type of approach, which is, like I said, pretty new for me and for, I don't know, teachers probably here in Argentina too. But it's something that we can maybe in the future do training, a specific webinar on this type of assessment approach, but we do include it, and teachers will see different examples in every unit. So then we have traditional assessment. So we work with different grammar features. I will show you in a minute how we have the grammar points organized with the presentation and activities. And then the same happens here. We replicate and try to get, of course, to those teachers who really need to measure their students' grammar knowledge and vocabulary knowledge. We also have those included here. And we also have a section where students have to write, which is called free write, but it's guided. And it gives them different opportunities to show what they have learned in class. So what happens? So you have all these different features. And the great thing about this is that you can use all these tools in our platform, which is incorporates not only the good and great material that you just saw, and I'll show you a little bit in depth when I look at I show you the platform, but at the same time, these types of material has the assignments tool that allows you to customize your classes, because as you can see here, you have the ability to select 1, 2, or whatever activities you want to assign, and you have the possibility to assign these activities to all of your classes, like all of your students, or just whoever is needing extra help. So you have the ability to decide which, and if there is a student that needs additional help, you can assign extra activities, or if there's a student who finishes the activities earlier, you can assign them more activities. This is where really true customization happens, and you can make that possible with our platform. Another great thing about the platform is that I'll show you the grading tool that you have, that it's also something that you can adapt and adjust and pretty much accommodate to your needs. And let me see if I can, yes, give me 1 second. I'm just going to show you. It's better to see, right? Than for somebody to tell you. So here is our platform. You have 2 different types of view. You have the tile view right here, and you have the list of contents view that is part of the directory. You have like I said, you have all the units. We have 6 units, and then each unit has a story. You have a can-do pre-assessment. Students will be able to assess themselves and see what they know, how they feel about specific topic. They have to fill this first, okay? And you see here the modes of communication that I was mentioning before: interpretive listening, presentational speaking. These are the modes of communication. And that's before they start the unit. And then you will see the stories, and you will see that each story has different pre-reading activities. You have a picture talk to introduce the topic and the discussion, following the concept of I see, I think, and I wonder, which is a great way to get your students and to, brainstorm some ideas. Then we have the story per se. You, like I said before, you have the audio. You can play the audio, you can read, you can do popcorn reading, you can use it as, in different ways you might want to. You have the pictures that come along with them. Some of the stories have pictures, so you can use them too. You can zoom them in if you need to. You can also print the story if so for whatever reason technology is not working. You can print, and any page within our materials is fully printable. And after you continue with the story, you have different comprehension questions. You have ways in which you can work with the structure of the story. You have speaking activities and this is what I was telling you about, that you have this interaction here where you can record the audio based on the script, on the picture. And then you have the rubric, which is really interesting too, because students will be able to see what is expected from them in order to focus on what they have to do to have a good score. And all you have to do with this is select it, and it is auto-graded. So you choose the correct or the rubric that you want to assign for each category, and it's automatically graded for the teacher. You can also create your own rubric. You can edit. Let me show you. Let's see. Right here, you will see it says edit this page, and you can edit any of the materials that is here. You can just type it or change it, add your own pictures. If you want to, it says edit section right here. I want edit section 1, for example. I can add pictures. I can add different types of instructions. I can record the instructions if I want. I can add a video if I want. Anything within the platform is fully editable. And that's interesting and cool too, because we know sometimes we want to change the materials, and we want to add our own style to the materials, which is great, and you can do it here. So this is our these are all the stories. Here is the cultures and connection sections that I was talking about. Let me show you the panorama. The panorama is a 360 view of a different situation described within the story. Let me show you around. This is a nice 3D view, and you can use it to describe, to compare it to the story, to see if this is what was something that your students imagine. If this was something that they thought, they would be able to see. You can do so many things with this types of material. And so we have interviews, we have all the other podcasts, we have a text for adopting a koala, different activities that you can exploit with your classes, and follow-up activities too. And this is the magic. I want to show you this. I saved the last part for so that's the icing of the cake. So another great tool that I would like to share with you, you will see also a game center, but I mean, there is a lot to show you, but in 30 minutes, this is, we're gonna just give you a bite size of you will get. So here is the grading section for the teachers panel. And what happens is once you assign your lessons and your activities, you will be able to see. First, you have to create a student group, and then you can assign that group to your students, create their accounts, and you will see the different types of activities that you have assigned for your students. For example, I want to show you what I have. So, okay. So here you have, for example, this activity was assigned to 3 students. Just one of them did it. They completed. I have the date. I have how many points they got. So here I can change it. I can adjust it. I can write my feedback right here. I can record my feedback. Okay. Let's see if we have another here, another example. Right here too, you see that Elizabeth did it. I have to check because maybe she did them correctly, so I can adjust the points or not, So this is when you grade those activities that you have assigned. And of course, many of us have a lot of headaches sometimes when it's time to score our students because we have to add all these. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Okay. Well, we want to make it easy for you guys. So I'm going to show you how to run a report of all the different activities that your students have completed. I'm going to, okay, group it. And you have different metrics here as to how you want for your reports to be generated. So I'm just going to select this and I will be able to generate my report. I will have my students' activities, the points, the scoring that every student got, how many activities they completed. I will be able to see all this, which is wow, because we save so much time. We don't have to create a template. We don't have to type in our students' names and then have all these long hours doing this, right? So you can decide how you want your report. You can download your report on a CSV or spreadsheet, and you can save it for your records and submit it whenever it's necessary for you to do it. And let me finish before we finish. Yes, we have a little time. I know we're almost there.
No, I just mentioning the icing because that red in your eyes.
I know. I can see everybody like, oh, really? Yeah. Yes. So we can do all this and it's very efficient because it can take time away from us spending, all this extra time that we have to grading and adding up and everything. We will have all that in our grade book. That's what it's called. Okay, and let me show you. So all of you for coming to our session will get free teacher access to our Storyscape. Sylvie, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Let me see if I can type in the.
I think it's there, and I've mentioned that they have the link. Is that what you mean?
No, this is, sorry. I don't know. I cannot delete it. I wanted to share. If yes, you can share the link for them to sign up.
Yeah, it's there. It's in the. So you have the Canva design there, and let me check in the chat.
Okay, I think I have it.
All right. If not, we will send that. Yeah, I have got the dots here. Just let me share it again.
Yeah. So you will see on the chat, you will see a link. So you can sign up for complimentary teacher access. That gives you 1 year of teacher access. You can project the stories. You can print any material that you have there. You can share it with your students. So hopefully that will be something you can use in your classes. And another great thing about this is that for attendees of the conference, we have a special offer. Let me see if I can show you the special offer.
All right.
Oh my goodness. Oh, there we go. So we have I'm not sure if you're familiar with the BOGO, the buy one, get one free. It's pretty popular there. Everything is BOGO. So, so for normally you get 10 students accounts if you want to have, the ability to assign activities to your students and create those students accounts. We have 10 students accounts for $100, but for teachers of the TESOL conference for all attendees until June the 10th, you can get 20 students accounts for $100.
Right.
So,
Great BOGO.
I know it's hard to miss. Don't miss it. You have until June the 10th to purchase those 20 students accounts for $100. And if you want or have any questions, of course, reach out to me at efl@ourstoryscape.com. Also, I can schedule a walkthrough to show you, of course, how to use your teacher access. And if you would like to get additional information, we have an open calendar for any teacher to, who want to see maybe a special feature or something or specific material, specific unit, whatever. We are open to sharing and showing them and assisting them and helping them figure out how our materials would work well with them.
Wow. It's a great session. I don't know whether I laughed more, the product or your presentation, or they were just equal in interest. But Lorena, thank you for facilitating this workshop in which you introduce a wondrous tool that no teacher should miss, in the sense that it helps them really help their students. So this is what we want in the end. So thank you for a very visually attractive, student-friendly presentation and teacher-friendly as well. So thank you so much, Our Storyscape, and thank you, Lorena, for introducing the project. People, this is time for lunchtime. Take some rest, make sure that you replenish and get ready for the second part of the day, which is going to be as amazing as this one. See you.
Bye. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Lorena.